Welcome to the Ho-Ho Show.
Rated the #1 most listened to podcast on Pluto. So join us now as we discuss news, politics, current events, and so much more. So clear the airwaves and strap in as we
defend the Constitution, because freedom matters.
Broadcasting from the cottage studio, welcome to the Ho-Ho Show, and as always, I'm your host, Ho-Ho. So how y'all's doing? I hope you're doing good. I really do. So on yesterday's episode, 11/5/2022, the title of it was, We Need Integrity. I kind of got into a little bit about, free market capitalism, and what I wanted to do on this episode is really kind of take a little bit of a deep dive into it and really explain why capitalism is king and how the free market capitalism is great for consumers. It is amazing for you. And the alternative is a very, very bad thing. And we have examples of that. Right in the US, we have examples of that clear as day. We really do. And I went ahead and I typed something out to kind of help myself stay on track. So we'll see just how good I do with that one. I typed this whole thing out. All right. So this whole entire thing kind of started from this news article that I seen on Fox News. Our economic crisis isn't inflation. It's corporate greed, and the GOP will only make matters worse. Now let's scroll on down a little bit into this because, well, okay, you got the corporate greed is at a 70-year high, and oil companies are buying back stock, not lowering prices. And scrolling on down a little bit into here. Nope, that's not where I wanted to go. Let's be clear. Inflation is not unique to America. It is an international crisis. In the European Union, inflation is nearly 11%. In Germany, it is 11.6%. In the United Kingdom, it's 10.1%. In Ireland, it's 9.6%. In America, it's only 8.2%. Much too high, but lower than it is throughout much of Europe. Now, here's the thing, and this is kind of what they don't want to tell you. Considering we are, or at least the USD is the global currency, we control all of it. We just print money to pay our bills, to pay for whatever it is that we want to pay for, very much, lowering the value of an individual piece of currency. Whatever denomination that be, whatever denomination of bill that would be, a $1 bill, a $5, or whatever, we flood the market with it, which is what we have done with the different payouts that we've been doing and everything else throughout the COVIDs. But we also control our own interest rates. And believe me when I tell you, the interest rate is far higher than what the feds have actually raised it so far. The real number is a lot higher. It really is. But they've forced it and kept it down because they don't want to make the Democrats, they don't want to make, Biden look like he's completely incompetent, even though the fact of the matter is he's completely incompetent in all of this. This was done by design, and they don't want to admit it. They don't want to come out and say it. They want to keep people in the dark. They want to lie to us, and they're hoping that people will just believe the lie. But let's scroll on up a little bit into the beginning of this again, because this is kind of where I'm going to start off the episode. Corporate greed is at a 70-year high, and oil companies are buying back stock, not lowering prices. Now, here's the thing, all right? Here's what I want you to know. Here's what I want you to understand. When it comes to the oil industry, we are, our pricing is done based off of the global market, okay? It is, it's determined upon, how much oil they get out of the ground, and in which case, the more oil they can get out of the ground, the more oil they can send to refineries, the more they can refine, the more oil goes onto the market, and the more oil on the market, the lower the price is. And that's worldwide. Okay. Demand basically stays relatively the same. It doesn't fluctuate, at least here, a whole heck of a lot. Now granted, I mean, the demand is high, people drive, truck drivers drive, a lot of that kind of crap, but that's what determines the price per gallon of fuel, whether we're talking gas, whether we're talking diesel, the whole 9 yards. Okay. That's what determines it. And since we no longer drill, or at least our drilling has been just squashed because rules and regulations that was put into effect by the Obama administration, that means that there's less supply on the global market. That means less oil that can potentially be refined. That means, higher prices, because whenever you lower supply without lowering demand, that forces prices up. And that's what we're seeing. That's what goes on. The price at the pump has nothing to do with the actual cost. The cost to drill, the cost to refine, the cost of shipping, different overhead, at the fuel station and in various places, in the whole process. It has nothing to do with that. It is based off of the global market. Okay? It has absolutely nothing to do with cost. Let me say that again. The price you pay at the pump for fuel has nothing to do with the cost involved in shipping, refining, drilling, all of that. Okay? There's a reason why the oil industry doesn't like it to go below a certain dollar amount. There's a reason. Because they can't produce it as cheap as what the price drops. So like whenever, yes, through Obama, we had, lower fuel prices, but in some cases that lower fuel price, it was very bad for producers because they were selling it at a lower cost or a lower price than what it was actually costing them to get it out of the ground, refine it, send it to a gas station for you to buy it. The cost was actually lower. Now, normally is what you see in everywhere else whenever it comes to pricing and whatnot. You have, different things that are taken into account. You've got the cost of raw materials, the cost to put everything together, the cost of packaging, the cost to ship is in the fuel price, the driver price, the cost to put it into a warehouse or to be shipped, or the cost to put it into a storefront, and then you have other bills or other prices that are factored into it and added into it. Like, let's say you're going to, the big box store or something that rhymes with Walmart. They have to pay their bills, the water bill, the power bill, you're paying for shelf space. You're paying for, all of their workers and employees. You're paying for everything that they are, offering, everything. You're paying for that. And all of that is factored into the unit price of the item you're buying on the shelf. And then they also add into it a markup for profit. Because if they're not making any money, then why would they do that? And that goes for everything. The store itself adds a markup. You have a markup for the shipping. You have a markup for the production. You have a markup for the mixing or whatever it is. You have markups in all of that. Now, here's the thing, though. This isn't a bad thing. Having all of these markups, they pay for something. And one of the things that they pay for is research and development. Different things. It's not a bad thing. Free market capitalism and how they price things in free market capitalism, it's not a bad thing. It actually is a good thing. Very much is a good thing. I'm actually not doing bad whenever it comes to, staying on track. It's kind of cool. So with free market capitalism, okay, how a lot of the pricing, or at least with profit, how it works is, let's just go with the newest, greatest, best thing that they make, okay? You have all of the cost associated with it, from beginning to end, factored into it. You have a profit markup that is put in there for the brand. Bigger the brand, bigger the profit. It's kind of a prestige kind of a thing. Brand recognition, prestige, markup. That's normal. We pay for that. We normally pay for that. That's why some people will only buy name brand products and other people will buy, knockoff products that are cheaper. It's the prestige. And that isn't a bad thing. And then you also have, especially whenever you're talking about the newest, greatest thing, you also have the prestige of having and owning that next best thing. That biggest, brightest, the best, what have you. There's a prestige involved for being the first one to own something, and you're going to pay extra for that. That's factored into it. And like I said, it's not a bad thing. Because then what happens is you have other companies that'll come in and they'll start making it too. They'll buy it from the people who made it. Let's just say, a brand new type of TV, they'll make it from whoever made it. They'll buy that TV, they'll do some reverse engineering, they'll figure out how they did it, and then they'll start developing their own, making their own, which is a good thing because they release it into the market, and what you have is other brands, having different types of models, different feature sets involved in it, cutting different corners in production and, quality to further lower the price. And in time, once these items are in the market, you're no longer paying the additional prestige like you are with the newest things, having the biggest, brightest, everything. You're not paying that additional cost and prestige. You still are going to be paying that brand prestige, but not the newest, greatest, best thing. Again, this is a good thing. Because in the free market, the buyer is king. When you have different companies making the same product, then the companies have to fight for your business. Let's just stick with TVs for a second. Okay, Sony comes out with the biggest, best, newest TV, and they keep their price the same. Okay? They may have a few different, the good, better, and the best as far as, quality is concerned, different feature sets or whatever that's concerned. But their prices, because of the prestige that you're paying for, not just in brand, but in having the newest, best, greatest thing, they don't lower it whenever other retailers come in or other manufacturers come in and make the same product. Now, are you going to continue buying a Sony TV whenever you can get it from so many other different places cheaper? Even quality, let's just assume the quality is the same. Are you still going to spend that extra money if, let's say Sony doesn't lower the price? No. And all it takes is one manufacturer, one retailer, one business, one seller to change their price and lower it. Now, here's the thing, too, before I go any further. Here's what you have whenever it comes to free market capitalism. Because that thing that you're buying, the seller is going to sell it at the highest possible price that he can to get as much profit out of it, obviously. Again, this isn't bad. This is a good thing. What they say that is that they're going to sell it at the highest price that the market can bear. That's how they word that. And if people aren't going to buy it at this high price, then they'll lower it. Or they'll market it at being this really, really high price, and then, they'll have it on there for a little while, and then they'll have sales involved in it to make you think you're getting a deal whenever, in all honesty, you're not. Okay, so now let's slide back into, with the other people coming out with the same items. Okay. It's going to be at a lower price. And again, if Sony doesn't lower their price, then nobody's going to be buying their TV. So in order to stay competitive, they have to lower prices. They have to come out with different features, different feature sets. They have to fight amongst themselves to earn your business. That's why in free market capitalism, the buyer is king. Because if they're not willing to pay the price, if somebody's going to come out with the next best thing, the bigger, better deal, and if they're going to be able to do it cheaper than their competitors, then that's where people are going to shop. Whether it be brand, whether it be retailer, that's where people's going to shop. It's pretty stinking simple. Free market capitalism, they have to fight for your business because you have, in the free market, multiple people making the same products, and they have to sell it to you at a cheaper price in order to get you to buy their products. All right. Now, in a controlled market, you don't have that. In a controlled market, you don't have that at all. In a controlled market, a lot of the times is what you have is a pathway to selling in the marketplace. You have gatekeepers, whether those gatekeepers be the government or whether they be different corporations that get in bed with government. You still have gatekeepers, and is what they do all too often is they give you hoops that you got to jump through, hurdles that you have to jump through, obstacles that you got to dodge. They got red tape and this and that and the other. That's what happens. And we see this kind of thing a lot. I heard some type of an interview that Bill Gates did, talking about Microsoft, because he is one of those such gatekeepers, a corporation, a business that got in bed with government in order to squash competition. That's what he did. He even came out and basically said during an interview that in today's environment, now this has been a while since he said this, but it was in today's environment, whenever that was, I would not be able to build Microsoft into the company that it is today. It would never happen. Because is what he did is he got in bed with government, became a gatekeeper, got government to agree with him, put hurdles, obstacles, hoops, and red tape that any newcomer wouldn't be able to afford the price of doing business. Did Bill Gates have those same obstacles that he had to go through? No. But he made sure that anybody else would have to go through that, making it to where if you want to make anything off of this, basically, you're going to have to sell it to me. That's what happens all the time. That's bad. Because in a controlled market, the seller is king. Because whenever you only have one or two places to get whatever it is that you're wanting and the market that it is available, when you don't have options, but you have to have it, the seller is king. They can make whatever it is that they want, and they can sell it to you at whatever price they want to sell it to you at, and you have no choice but to go through them to get it. And we do see this. We see this all the time. We see this, well, first, before I go into that, okay, let me give you some examples with the free market industry. Okay. TVs and monitors. I already talked about those. And think about this. With every single item that I'm about ready to talk about, you see options all over the place. Varieties all over the place. And fluctuation in price that is unbelievable. So many, options that you can buy. You have a huge range of price, quality, this, that, and the other to choose from, depending on, whatever it is, whatever market you're in, whatever item it is that you're looking at. TVs, monitors, huge array, a lot of options, all kinds of options. Too many to count, really. Lights, cameras, action, food items, ketchup, different condiments like that, ketchup and mustard. And, think about anything that you buy in the store, clothing, food. So many options, such a variety, so many different prices. Basically speaking, the sky's the limit. We're not forced to buy just one kind of anything. We have options. Music. We have options. We have too many options to count. And that's a good thing, because these retailers, these manufacturers, these producers, they have to fight for your business, for your patronage. That makes you king. That puts you in control, period. If they want your business, they have to fight to get it, fight themselves. But when you have government-controlled things like insurance, think about it. Insurance has not been free, as part of the free market that I've been alive. Too much government, regulations. Whether you're talking vehicle insurance. Oh, you have to have insurance if you're going to drive a vehicle. That's in all 50 states. You have to have this type of insurance. You have to have, this amount of coverage, this, that, and the other. For the most part, it doesn't really matter where you buy insurance from. The only thing that's going to differ is the price when you first get into bed with an insurance company. That's it. Once you've been in bed with them for a while, things start to change. Prices goes up. We see the same thing with health insurance. There are some states out there, and I think Maine is one of them, that there isn't but one provider if you want insurance. Whenever they were doing the whole affordable health care insurance, there was only one provider that you can get. That was it. They can charge you whatever the heck they want to do. If you weren't so, if you didn't have enough money to where you could just, buy your own, if you were forced on the government dole, you had but one option. And that made prices for everybody else that could afford it go up, and they only had, one or two options. And that was it. One option, basically, whenever it came down to who you were going to buy insurance from. Maybe a couple different options as far as what they offered, how much you were willing to spend, but there wasn't options because it was government-controlled marketplace. Coercion, even, because they were, forcing you into buying something. Whether or not you needed it, that's beyond the point. It was government coerced selling of health insurance. They do the same thing for car insurance, but they get away with it with car insurance because it's like, oh, well, you don't have to have a car, so you don't have to have car insurance. But they were trying to force you into health insurance. You didn't have an option, very good ones in a lot of different places, because they forced you into the pigeonhole. They didn't give you choices. They didn't give you options. Cell phone carriers. How many different carriers are out there? Not many. And even with some companies out there, pay as you go, Straight Talk, Cricket, what have you, they are still using another company's towers, meaning even though you still may be paying your bill through Cricket or Straight Talk, the towers you are using still belong to AT&T or Sprint or T-Mobile or Verizon, because there's only 4 options. And there's actually less than that, considering there's been mergers that's happened. So, you have 2 options right now? That's it. And have you noticed that for the most part, the price for everything is the same? Oh, you might be paying different amounts of money on your bill depending on, what kind of cell phone you've decided to, sign a contract and get, a 2-year contract. But the price, outside of contract, whenever you own your phone, all the prices are the same. They don't fluctuate a lot. Have you ever noticed that? Why? Because it's government controlled. There aren't any options. These various companies have become gatekeepers to stifle and to squash competition. But you also see a controlled marketplace whenever we're talking about government transportation, government education. It amazes me that we have, the government that says that monopolies are bad, that Google has way too much power, so we got to force them to, break some things apart to make them smaller and less powerful. But at the same time, things like public run education is a good thing. They force you into paying for it through taxes. They don't give you a choice in most places. They don't have that charter program to where the money that is spent on your children for education follows the student to whatever school he wants to go to. Oh no, they take your money and that money goes into the public school where they decide what your children get taught. And you're still paying for the government run education. And if you don't make enough money to benefit from a privately owned school, then, I guess you're stuck in public education, government-controlled education. Let me rephrase that. Must be nice to have a lot of money, huh? And there's also other ways that the government participates in these sort of monopolies. With bailouts, like what happened with Chevy and other companies as well. Not just Chevy, but Chevy was a pretty major one. Instead of allowing them to fail because they suck at running a business, these CEOs and various people, they suck at running a business. Instead of making them feel the pain for doing what it was that they did, it's, we're going to bail them out. We're going to give them a handout to help them up and make them subservient to government, to us. A lot of good it did us, but that's beside the point. That's one of the ways that governments pick winners and losers. Another way they pick winners and losers is by, let's say, giving different companies grants for research and development. And whenever they give this money away to whatever company they decided they're going to give it to, that makes it a lot harder for anybody else to come into that same marketplace because they're starting off with a disadvantage. They don't have all this government money to spend on research and development. We see that with, green energy, with solar, with wind turbines. What's the likelihood of having another producer make some of these things whenever government has decided who's going to win? Meaning everybody else that wants to join, that may be able to fix it with a better product, with more efficient product, with a safer, cleaner, better manufacturing process, and the whole 9 yards. Government chooses winners and losers. That's not free market capitalism. Back to free market capitalism being king. The customer gets lower prices because to get you interested in a product that they're trying to sell you, they got to offer it at a lower price than their competitor. In free market capitalism, you get better customer service. They want to keep you happy. They want to get you to come back. They want to keep you as a customer. When you have options, you have companies that'll go out of your way to make sure that you're happy and taken care of. You don't really see that in the VA. There's a company that, whenever I first started getting into podcasting, I really wish I knew about them, that I would have used them. Let me put it this way. If I knew about them in the beginning of this, then I would have bought 90% of my gear, 90% of my products, anything that I could have off of them. Because, I didn't discover them until late, whenever I basically had everything that I needed to be a content creator with whatever that I would buy off of their site, because, they went above and beyond. Like, it's been a while since I bought off of them last time. I got a phone call, personalized email from a representative from this company just to check on me, just to see if there's anything that I'm needing, anything that I'm wanting to expand on, any products that I'm curious about or interested in. They called me up and was like, hey, what are you thinking about doing in your endeavor of being a content creator? Maybe I can help. And they truly went above and beyond to try to get my business. I mean, I wasn't even upset about this sales call. I was like, dude, that's actually like, dude, y'all are amazing. Like in the very first part of in the step, they were like, hey, look, we're having some issues. And I seen before I bought the item that they were having shipping issues. They were, a lot of people buying the same thing. And like right whenever it first came out, and they were like, hey, we are doing our absolute very best. As soon as we get this stuff in, we put it in inventory, and we are immediately shipping it out to, fulfilling each order as it came in. So first one's in, first one's out. That's how they were doing it. And the guy called me up and was like, dude, this is what we're doing. This is what's going on. We will get this out to you as soon as humanly possible. We're looking to be able to do it in this kind of a time frame. They called me within, it was like maybe 2 days, maybe 3 days. Like it was like the next business day, because I think I ordered it like on a Friday. By Tuesday, I had a phone call from the company saying, hey, this is what's going on. I already knew this whenever I bought it. Out of stock. We'll get to you when we get to you. but they made it a point to call me. That is amazing. That is awesome customer service. I told the guy, I'm like, dude, I wasn't expecting that. You don't get that kind of thing from Amazon. That just believes that because they're huge, that you should just automatically go to them. This company, Sweetwater, I'll even tell you their name. I love how they did business. I was like, if there's anything that I need that you guys sell, I will buy it off of you. And I have. Every time I was in the market to buy something that they offered, I went to them. Why? Because they impressed me right out of the gate. Best customer service. The pricing was about the same. Actually, it was the same pricing, but they offered better customer service. If this was a government-controlled marketplace, I never would have got that. I never would have got a lower price. I never would have got great customer service. I never would have got that. Because in free market capitalism, I'm king. If you can offer a better product, better quality, I'm going to buy it off of you. If you offer amazing customer service, even if it is the same price or a little bit higher, there's a good possibility I'm going to go to you, because it's not always about money. It's about customer service. In some instances, in a lot of instances, that's a hard word for me to say, apparently. I'll spend a little extra for better customer service. And there's a lot of people out there that'll do that too. But that's what you get in free market capitalism. And here's the thing too. Here's something that I really didn't focus on with free market capitalism. You see, in a controlled market, you're not going to get the next best thing. You're not going to get it. You're not going to get it at all. But when you're talking the free market, oh, you will see innovation. They will put forth and spend money in research and development, innovation, doing things better for cheaper, all this other kind of stuff. Why? Because again, they want your business. Don't believe me? Let's think about this, okay? I'm not old enough to remember party lines, but we're going to talk about landlines, okay? There was things went into a switchboard. You had to talk to an operator. You had party lines where you had several households that were on the same line. And depending on which household it was supposed to go to, the ring would be different. It'd be a different ringer, okay? So this household would have a ring that sounded like this. This household would have a ring that sounded like that. And based off of the ring, you knew if it was for you or for not. And there was no security whatsoever. If they would have to try to time picking up that phone to whenever you picked up that phone. Just kind of wait for it to stop ringing and then quickly pick it up, release the hanger up or clicky thingy, and they can listen in on your phone call. Yeah, that's how things used to be. And then it was individual numbers for individual households. You got a number, you got a number, and that was yours and yours alone. You had a rotary phone that would either sit on a table or hang on a wall attached to a cord. And this is where I remember. This is how old I am. I don't remember the party line and all that other kind of crap. I don't remember any of that. So my era, late 1978, your house, one number, rotary phone on a table or on a wall, then the headset was attached to a cord. And then you had touch tone phones. Same thing. On the desk or hanging on the wall. And then they came out with, the whole cordless phones. Those are pretty awesome. But in there, you had voice messages, answer machines that after so many rings, it would pick up for you and play a pre-recorded message from you and then record their response right there. And this was on a little micro cassette, because this was in your house. This wasn't voicemail that you had to go to a voicemail service in order to get from your carrier. No. This was an answering machine that recorded the message from whoever it was that called you. And then eventually we got caller ID. That was amazing. That was a game changer. Because before, if the phone rang, you had to answer it to find out who it was. And then it was, answer machine. And then it was caller ID. That was pretty cool. And that is all the innovation on landline phones that we have had in the past 40 plus years. A rotary phone to a touch tone. Corded to cordless. Answer machine, digital. That's it. That's all the innovation. In 40 plus years, that is all the innovation that we have seen in a government-controlled industry. Now let's think about your cell phone. Just in the past, 20 years maybe? We had bag phones. That was, on a bag with a cord, big old battery brick that you couldn't just carry around with you. You had, the regular, just like huge brick phones that were freaking huge. Eventually they started to make them smaller. You had flip phones, various different, types and models and manufacturers of them, a lot of different manufacturers and types and everything else, Many different phones. And then 12 years ago or so, smartphones came onto the market. And ever since, it's been new features, new security features, face recognition to open your phone and, fingerprint recognition and this type of app and that type of app and recording and camera and this, that, and the other. You got, a computer virtually right in your hand. I mean, think about just in the past 5 years, all of the innovation, 10 years, all of the innovation that we have had in the cell phone industry with the induction and introduction of smartphones. They are releasing a new type of phone every single year, sometimes twice a year. Have smartphones that are a flip phone, that are twice the width of your regular phone. I mean, it's amazing. Innovation, research, development, a foldable screen. That's what the free market has brought you. You benefit from it every single day. And yet you have people in this country that'll condemn free market capitalism as if it's evil. How did you get the shoes on your feet? How did you get your cell phone? Free market capitalism. Do we even use landlines anymore? Not very often. There was a time you would see pay phones public payphones everywhere. Why? Because that's the only option that we had. Now that we have this, and this came about because they never did anything with landlines. Landlines are a thing of the past. Why? Because it was government run, government controlled, and we never seen innovation. No research, no development, nothing. Nothing. Sorry. Speaking of, that was my phone. A notification. Letting me know something's up. Would I have gotten something like that from a landline? Nope. Not at all. Capitalism is king because it is a seller's market. I'm sorry, it is a buyer's market. Whew, I misspoke. Controlled marketplace, it's a seller's market. There's no research, no development. They don't have to fight for your business when they're the only one offering what it is that they're offering. Whether it's something that through coercion that they force you into, or whether it just be something like landlines. So which one do you like? Which one is better for you? Let me know down in the comments below. This went a little bit longer than what I intended. I definitely didn't intend for the thing to be this long, but I hope I clarified things. I hope it broke it down to you. I hope I allowed you to understand the difference between free market capitalism and controlled capitalism, or actually just a controlled market. That's what we're talking about, the marketplace. So that's all I got for y'all. That's it. You have a good one, and I'll see you in the next video.
This has been The Ho-Ho Show. For more information, you can head to thehohoshow.com. And for the merchandise store, you can head on over to stinkpickle.com. That is stinkpickle.com. Until next time.